We have International Fight Week going down this Saturday here in Las Vegas, and we are here to break down this amazing card. Maybe you may not like it, but I think this card is fantastic. And there's going to be a lot of violence on Saturday. But I am your host, Aries, and behind the camera is my other host, the man behind the camera. What is up, my brother? We are here. Fight Week, baby.
We finally made it, man. It's Look, I'll be honest, man, it might not be the main event I wanted, but man, we're here. And we got a potentially classic main event on our hands, and a division that's gonna get a lot of shine between two fights on the main card at flyweight. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Me too. And I think with the Talbott fight being in the pay-per-view, opening up the pay-per-view card instead of the heavyweights, they got moved to the prelims with some shuffling going on. I think this pay-per-view card is made to be violent. I think there's some really good, interesting matchups on this pay-per-view card. And yeah, again, the main event, especially the co-main, is
Co-main's getting slept on way too much.
Man. Yeah.
Way too much.
So we're here to break it down for you guys. We give our full prediction and breakdowns of the cards. We start from the bottom of the card from prelims and work our way up to the main event. But before we get into this, I do want to say that UFC Baku was not good for me as picks went. I went 5-7 for the day. It was, man, some of these picks, I don't know what these guys were doing. A lot of low IQ fighters that I picked just did not.
It's the first time I've seen post-fight you repost your picks and have explanations on everybody and be like, what was this guy doing? What was you doing? Where was your defense?
I was taken away.
You almost was like a coach after a long, like you're just like, man, you know what? Nah, I don't have anything good for y'all today. Today I gotta let y'all know y'all sucked.
Man, 5-7. I was so disappointed in myself, and I went immediately to watch film for this card, and I'm like, I'm not going to let this happen again. I take pride in my picks, as you guys may not know, but I do take pride in the picks. I work hard. I watched film, so 5-7 is unacceptable. And I feel like I have a small group of people who do follow my picks, so I have to do better. So I pride myself on improving this week. But before we get into the fight card, it's UFC 317, we want to give our thoughts on a big something happened in the MMA UFC world.
At the end of Baku, actually.
Yeah, end of Baku. On Saturday, we had the announcement of Jon Jones retiring. Dana White confirmed it, that Jon Jones called him, and I guess he wanted to retire. The belt was stripped, and now Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom Jones. What the
Hey, it's not unusual. Hey.
But Tom Aspinall is the new champ of the heavyweight division. And
undisputed.
Yeah. Man. And to see my GOAT, Jon Jones, go out like that, it definitely hurt the heart for me.
Does it affect his GOAT status for you?
I'm still thinking about it, to be honest with you.
Because that's been the big talk. It feels like there's been two main talking points: is how he went out, like avoiding ducking Tom, the alleged ducking, and then the discussion then transitions from what I've seen into his legacy and how much that will impact his legacy. Arguably the biggest voice in MMA, Ariel Helwani, he voiced off on it. A great 20-minute video that he posted, made a lot of valid and decent points that I hadn't really thought of. His GOAT is GSP. I've always had a little
Canadian man.
Yeah, true. I didn't like GSP when he was active. I didn't. I thought he was the most boring of the champions, and the reason why I didn't like him is because we knew he could be. He was safe. That's why I didn't like GSP.
Yeah.
He was very safe. Brother, he could have been a dynamic striker.
Brother.
He was Olympic level wrestling, arguably. He could have been Anderson Silva with wrestling.
And
I understand when people say GSP is the GOAT. However, also, whenever I think of GSP, I don't think of any of his wins. I always think about the Matt Serra loss.
Oof, one of the biggest upsets in UFC history.
Biggest. And like, as much as people want to get on Jones about this and that, and he fought middleweights or washed 205ers, which is valid. There's validity in those arguments that he fought a bunch of 85ers or old 205ers and the Dominic Reyes fight that people still contend that he lost, and I still contend he lost. Gustafsson won. But let's not act like he was out here ducking his whole career. Let's not act like I think off of your just talent alone. I think he's the most complete and the best ever. If you're just talking skill and talent, the PED and the outside of the cage stuff, that's always going to be there. And that's for me. Silva is my Anderson is always going to be my GOAT. Probably just there's something about Anderson.
Yeah.
That just everybody didn't even fear Jones like that. There was something about Spider that he just, oh man. But Joe, and he didn't have any of the outside the cage stuff. He was always a great ambassador for the sport without speaking English. Like Jones, there's too much extra for me to consider him my personal. I'm not saying he's not, but like talent-wise, again, talent, yes, 1,000%. I think he's the GOAT. But just putting it all together, despite the record, despite the all of that, I can't go out like that.
Yeah, it's making me think, and my number 2 is Anderson Silva. I definitely have Anderson Silva before GSP. But just when people want to bring up resumes, I'm going off Ryan Bader when John Jones beat Bader up to DC 1 or even before that DC fight where he got tested and popped. Like I'm taking those fights. I'm taking that against any run from a champion, anything like that. That's what makes him the GOAT to me. Is people bring up the Rashad Evans and they think of like the analyst that's sitting on the desk or the Rampage. These guys were killers before.
These are the guys that are showing how long they've been watching the sport too.
What he did to Machida, again, he's a middleweight, but to submit Machida.
Bro, what he did to Shogun to get the belt even.
You got like people, we look at these names and it's like, oh, he was trash. But come on, man. What are we doing here?
The one kid, I'm sure you've seen the clip that's circulating around with the little Mayuli kid sitting in his car. He's talking about like how everyone's talking about John Jones. And he fought Chael Sonnen, dog. And it's like, bro, like he's a prime example of, brother, you don't know anything about, you weren't watching, you weren't outside, and you haven't done your proper history. Because if you mean to tell me that, bro, let's not discount too snake light work of Brandon Vera.
Guys,
Brandon Vera was a heavyweight who was gonna be like we thought Brandon Vera was gonna be that guy.
Vera was that guy in the 205 division. The striker,
he had jit, like he was.
That brother was smooth, brother.
Right. And John Jones made it look easy with him
as a kid,
as a child, bro.
Like,
and then like you said, Bader, Shogun, Rampage, Machida. By the way, these are all finishes. He's finishing people. All this stuff you see late career with the Santoses and the Reyes and Anthony Smith, decisions, all that stuff. Man, this was a different breed. Like, and then Vitor, Chael, Alex, Glover, DC. The only one in there for me in that whole run was the OSP. And that was even
just a
I want to say that was a like
OSP was
like there was a filler replacement or something like that. Like it was a late replacement. But see, and that's the thing is that like you look at all that, but then you also unfortunately have to look at, okay, he had some of these decisions overturned, or after these fights, he's popping positive for whatever. And it's like, okay, well, how much does that, like, we don't know how much it has to do with with whatever. But
performance.
yeah, so it's like that's for me. There's always that cloud, and that's like it's like almost like a 1-1A, even if you want to do that for me. But to just throw it out like just because at the end and for me there was a one moment, and Ariel brought it up, and I've watched a video of it a couple more times since, and I forget what the event was, but it's when John and Tom met for the first time. I don't know if you remember, like Tom comes up real respectful, shakes his hand, and then puts his hand on John's shoulder. Bro, the way John was looking at him the whole time, though, he was looking like this big ass fucking white boy, dog. He'll give it. I think that's when he made the decision, like, I don't want to play with this. I think we're good here. And yeah, that sucks. And he robbed us of what I mean, this would have been perfect fight week.
I think so too.
This is the main event, would have been incredible, but we're not gonna get it. And I don't think that because we've heard this before from Jones too. You remember we've had this stuff where he's kind of like, I don't know. This sounds more serious and legit, and to strip him of the belt and everything. My first thought was maybe the backlash will be enough to bring him, like, because his ego and shit, and he has to feel like the man. It'll be enough to make him be like, all right, let me come back, whoop his ass, and then show you. I don't think we're gonna get that this time. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I think he's done.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And if the UFC, and it sounds like Dana does not want to entertain Francis because he hates doing business with Francis.
Crossover and the PFL,
because I think Francis is the only person that can get John Jones to get out of retirement and be serious about something. I think Tom has to prove himself, which is not crazy to say. Yeah, Tom has been making light work of the heavyweight division right now, but I think John Jones looking at it like, bro, who are you? Like, you running through cans right now. Like, I need to see something from you to excite me about fighting you. So I do think that's a little bit of that as well. Like, I don't think. I think that fight would be big. But
do you think Tom warrants like being able to face John? Like, because we got to remember too, right? Heavyweights suck right now,
and that's the sucky
heavyweights
part.
Are terrible. So
that's the sucky part about it.
Like, yeah, Tom might not have the names or resume yet, but he also hasn't, like, he can only fight who's there.
But yeah, and that's what sucks about this is because John Jones, or not John Jones, but Tom Aspinall has fought those names that I would like to see him fight as a champion. He's beating those guys already.
He's basically cleared out heavyweight already without even having the belt.
It sucks how everything and all the puzzle pieces has fallen and have settled. I hate where they're at right now. And yeah, we just gonna have to take it, guys.
So that's another question though. Does that for you? Does that make you look at Jones any different? Because Jones has held up. He's been very selfish throughout his career, period. But like this late part, moving up to heavyweight and just like to hold out for Stipe for no reason.
What, 3 years?
No reason.
That's crazy.
Stipe didn't even. We were all sitting there. I remember watching that fight. We were like, Stipe don't even want to be in there, man. Like, and then just walked out like, yeah, I'm done. We're good here. Like, just the most unceremonious retirement ever. Like, he didn't even want to be to hold up the division for that, and then to get the belt officially and say, and like the Gone fight and everything. Like, there's what?
Yeah, it is, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm kind of going through everything again, and like maybe it is
just the way he handled it. He could have. The big thing from a lot of people has been, brother, you could have done this a long time ago. If you knew this is how it was going to end up, and you knew, bro, you could have just done this six months ago even, and we'd have been straight.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish he would have retired sooner instead of dragging this whole fight along and wasting time off of Tom's career, which is so unfair. And to treat your boss like this, and someone who has stood up for you,
dealt with a lot of your bullshit.
Yeah, and a man who has stood up for you time after time and has brought you back, gave you the fights you wanted, gave you everything you wanted, and you turn around and shit on your boss. And the guy who calls you the GOAT constantly in front of people and talks highly of you, it's bad. It makes you look terrible, bro. And so to do that to Dana, which Dana, you can like Dana or not, but Like, yeah, it's terrible. Like, you might make the worst decision than Francis made, to be honest with you. Like, you on the shit list. If I'm Dana, like, that's messed up, dude. So,
but Jones always has in his back pocket that Dana has said too, like, it would be the biggest heavyweight fight of all time in the company's history. And anytime John wants to pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, Dana, you know I was bullshitting,"
and that's what.
Let's get it popping. Dana be like, "All right, let's go."
The money man loves the money, and he knows that John Jones, Amanda Nunes who's coming back, the money's there. He's like, yes, I forgive you guys. Let's go.
And I think too, Dana is like, because he's doing the boxing and stuff, and Dana at the core has. I watched. There's like a profile or something on Dana I watched a while ago that really like I the Gorman roots and everything, the fact that he loves boxing first, and that he wanted to get into boxing promotion and this and that. I think that's part is that Dana's a promoter at his heart. So if he can be responsible for, like, they'll always talk about the fact that I put on the greatest heavyweight MMA fight ever. I put on the greatest women's MMA, but like, I think that matters to him too. And I think he'll be able to be like, all right. Like, and honestly, even if it ended up being Francis, why do you think Francis was even being brought up as far-fetched as it was? Is because people know, hey, it's gonna make dollars, it's gonna make sense. Like, Dana is all about that at the end, and it's a chance for him to say, yeah, they came back to me, they all needed me to make this money and to be part of the biggest fight that could be put on. I had to be a part of that shit. I made that happen.
And I think if Francis wants to say sorry, apologize, which, I don't know if he wants to do that, but I think Dana would take him back in a heartbeat if he just apologizes.
He was with Kamaru a couple weeks ago.
There you go.
Thought we'd see that.
And then I think that's all it takes. I think the man, right, who has the power, just wants people to be like, yes, fall to your knees and beg,
man.
Please.
Real Game of Thrones type of energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think apology from Francis, I think he's back in the Boston Good
Absolutely.
Graces.
Absolutely.
And maybe we may get that Tom and Francis. I'm not going to count it out yet.
That excites me more, if I'm being honest, too.
That's amazing.
But even
because the PFL is just a dumpster. It's not good, bro. They're not doing any talent. They're having cards on Wednesday. Everybody's at work. We're tired from our work day. No one's tuning into a PFL.
Did you hear the recent? So they owe my brother. I promise you, I use my better judgment, because sometimes I ain't gonna lie, I get sucked into these like betting with my heart, and we'll get into that later in this card too. But they had me. I watched some kid break down and put his money where his mouth is on Kevin Lee's return.
Oh boy!
And do you know what got me? So he had it at plus. He got it at plus 850. When I got to my book, it was plus 650. So I'm like, these niggas done bet Kevin Lee down. Maybe everybody's on to something. And do you know what I read today before I go into work? Somebody tweets, talk about, why would Ali set up Kevin Lee? Literally set up Kevin Lee to get knocked out. He knew Kevin Lee was going to get knocked out. And Kevin Lee quotes underneath, I know. Kevin Lee is like, yeah, I got set up to get knocked out, essentially. Like, I almost bought into the PFL hype of the Kevin Lee. I was like, he's been off for a while. He says he's back. He looks in great shape on short notice. He's been taking care of himself. This is it for him, the Motown phenom. Brother, I never pulled the trigger, thank God, because I'd have looked like a fucking fool thanks to PFL. Get out of here.
Yeah, I made a bad comment towards that. I was like, brother, if you don't join your brother Keith,
dude, you better review some food, my nigga.
Stop, Marilyn. Like, your career hasn't been the same since you made fun of Kiesa's mom, like, or called her mom out. So it needs to stop, dog. And it's not good, bro. Like, your injuries have derailed your career, and you haven't been the same, dog.
Dude. Derailed. They took it all the way up. They done come off the rails. The train done blown up. Like, yeah, no, it's done.
It's done.
It's over.
Keith, get your new co-host, your brother, and make those food reviews, man.
Please. Please, please.
All right, man. I think we're ready to jump into this card. UFC
Yeah.
317 going down this Saturday, International Fight Week. And I will say, my year hasn't been going too great as far as picks go. I am 140 good and 102 bad, 1 draw, 1 no contest. That's what my stats are looking like for this year.
Still money.
It's still money.
Positive money.
And I will, if you guys want to laugh at that, let me give you guys the last 2 years, okay? 323 wins and 192 losses was last year.
That's a lot of money.
And then 2023, 325 wins, 173 losses. That's what I'm doing, guys. So I'm not proud of my performance as we go into this mid-year. Half the year is almost gone already. So I'm known to put up some good numbers. So, let's just get right to it, guys.
Let's go.
I need to start making graphs of like my picks and stuff like that. That'll come later.
Show them, give them the actual, because people like to learn with their eyes instead of listening.
Yeah. That'll come later.
We'll go show them.
But yeah, let's just jump right into this card. We do start from the bottom. We will have some time stamps for this card as well. But let's jump right into the beginning, man.
So we got the early prelims, fight pass. First fight. It's kind of crazy to see him on the first fight.
Oh, boy.
I don't know why he's still around. But open up the card at welterweight. We got Nico the Hybrid Price at plus 900 against undefeated Kobe Smith.
Kobe Smith.
Coming in at minus 1,800, the biggest favorite on the card.
Absolutely nasty. This man is getting like Peyton Talbott before his last fight type numbers, maybe even higher. So Nico Price, a good veteran in the welterweight division. I mean, not as of late, but he is known to just been around for a few years or a lot of years. Do some good work. Decent striker, all around fighter. I think his best days are definitely behind him. And I think that's why you kind of see with these lines here. But the prospect that we have in the welterweight division and Kobe Smith, bright prospect in the welterweight division, which I think is needed in this division. And we see the ranked fighters, the top 15 is absolutely stacked in this division. Amazing wrestling pedigree, All-American wrestling. But this man has some knockout power, and we've seen it in his last performances. But I believe in the growth in the youth and the skill set of Smith. I think he's going to make some quick work of Nico Price. Price just gets hit way too much for my liking, especially at this age. So he's 35 years old, but his body is like it's way older than that. He's been through some tough times. He has a big family, so being a family man, training, going through fights, it takes a toll on your body, especially fatherhood, which I couldn't even imagine.
Ugh.
So I think Kobe Smith gets a win in the first round, and that's what I have on my paper. I have him first round TKO. I don't think Nico Price can handle power well anymore. So give me Kobe Smith TKO KO in the first round.
I like it. All right.
Next fight.
So next fight we have a switch up now.
Yes.
Or actually, no, we'll go to heavyweight next.
Yeah.
Because we got a heavyweight. We have 8-1 Jonata Diniz against our first debut in the UFC on the night. 7-0 Alvin Gucci Hines. Who's coming in at a plus 205 underdog to Diniz.
So Hines stepping in on short notice for Justin Tafa. And this fight, the Tafa versus Diniz fight, was scheduled to be on the pay-per-view card, which is absolutely nasty work.
Yeah.
Don't play with me, UFC.
Tafa doesn't need to be anywhere near main card.
On International Fight Week, don't you ever do that to us. But Hines, wrestling background, he has 3 subs, sneaky kicks, but this man is built like a gym rat. He's built like a gym, just a meathead. You got the bald head. This dude is thick with 3 C's. Pause. But Diniz is a really good technical kickboxer. Hines has a good right hand. Good striker, like I said, good sneaky kicks that I think he will use in his fight. His wrestling isn't all that great, even though he has a wrestling background. It's not that great from what I saw on tape. He just uses a lot of muscle to get his ways with these takedowns. And if you want to fight someone who is not too seasoned, but seasoned enough in the UFC and has fought better competition than Diniz, I think Jonata Diniz has been, training on that wrestling because that has been his downfall so far in the UFC. I have to believe that this man has been training hard and wanting to grow and still loving the sport in MMA. So I think he has been, going at it with the wrestling rounds and working on the takedown defense. But it's the hands. Every single fight starts standing up. Deniz is going to land heavy, and I don't know how much punishment Hines has seen in his career. Like he gets bloody, busted up, and against some cans that he's fought in his past. But again, the power doesn't worry me like that from Hines, and I think Deniz is just too clean of a kickboxer to get touched up that much by Alvin Hines. So give me the UFC veteran, and he's a young veteran, but he's seen a lot better competition. I think he's just going to be the cleaner person on the feed. So give me Deniz, but I'm going to take it by knockout.
Right.
It might be a TKO, depending on the ref, I feel like, but I think, Deniz is going to win by TKO.
Right. So the third matchup and the final matchup on the early prelims, we got a little curveball thrown at us.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, right before we came on here.
Yes.
So this might be a little quick one. We might have to check back in on the Friday recording if you do the final picks. So this one was initially supposed to be Cedric Dumas against UFC debutant Jackson the Moose McVey. Allegedly, word is that Cedric couldn't get in front of a judge in time to get his ankle monitor removed from his recent arrests. So he was forced to withdraw from the card because he's not going to be able to travel from Florida to Las Vegas.
Absolutely insane.
So insane. The lack of professionalism is crazy there. But also, like, look at who we're talking about in his history. Like, are we really surprised? He has been replaced on super short notice by El Tank, Christopher Ewert, another undefeated prospect who was actually supposed to make his debut on Dana White's Contender Series, but he's been fast-tracked now to the big show against, like I said, another debutant, Jackson the Moose McVey. We don't have lines on it yet.
Yeah,
probably going to be this Friday, maybe even Saturday, like day of the card after we see, the scales and everything.
So the original fight with Dumas and McVey, I had McVey winning by submission, just because Dumas is just too much outside stuff interfering with camp and his fight life. Dumas was locked up like a month ago, and now in fight camp, and now booked for UFC 317. So yeah, I had the UFC debut fighter in McVey winning by submission. He does have some good grappling. He's a big middleweight, but he doesn't use his reach very well. He kind of just crashes in, get the body lock, and get you to the ground. He has some really nice subs from what I saw on the tape that McVey does. But just watching a quick highlight tape, and of course I know it's a highlight tape of Ewert, this new person that's stepping in today. I know it's a highlight tape, so everything looks good, and you're like, wow. But him being from Chile and knowing what the fighters from Chile, in the UFC right now, they're so durable. Their chins are just made of like steel almost. So I expect a very durable fighter here in Christopher Ewert, and just watch, like, he's relentless with the hands and just throwing crazy, and he does kind of get hit, but he has the chin and the durability to kind of eat those to give 2 or 3 punches back to his opponent. And with someone who kind of crashes in to distance and wants to get to the body like McVey, I don't know. I don't know what McVey's durability is like, but I'm going to take a Chile chin versus a US chin, and
A
that's
Missouri chin.
a country boy. I just I'm seeing the scrappiness. I'm seeing the heart on display watching this highlight tape of Christopher Ewert. I know everything looks good on the highlight tape, but I'm getting a dog type sense from Christopher here. And I don't know, man. I'm just gonna take the new person that's kind of stepping in this fight a few days before the fight day. I'm taking Christopher Ewert. I think he's been in the gym training for that
Well, I was going to
Contender
say,
Series.
yeah, let's be real. If he was already going to get the shot potentially, then obviously somebody saw something in him within the UFC already. So,
And I like to think that not, people outside of the US, I feel like they just carry so much pride in what they do. I'm not saying US people are like not prideful, but I don't know, like people from different countries just have a different type of pride. And I feel like they carry so much with them in whatever they do in life. And I just feel like they want this and they breathe and eat it. And I'm taking the durability, I'm taking the striking, the dog heart of Christopher Ewert in this fight. And if he's an underdog, I'm going to put some money on it.
all right. So now we're going to move up. We got the prelims on ESPN. Opening up the prelims, we have T-Rec, Terrence McKinney. He's going to be your 170 favorite over Slava Claus.
Oh, boy.
Vyacheslav Borshchev, who's coming in at plus 142. What you think?
I know there's a lot of people going back and forth on this fight because we are dealing with two fighters who are just so unreliable. Inconsistent, unreliable. So Terrence McKinney, like he has some skills, he has power in his hands. He's explosive for that first round. He gives you hell in that first round, but the drop off from the end of the first round to the second round is so bad. He kind of puts everything out there in the first round to where anything past the first round, there's a drop off in cardio, output, power, and that kind of leads to him losing. But when we look at the resume and the record of Terrence McKinney, he finishes fights. He finishes and wins his fights in the first round. Anything past the first round, he has lost. He has not won a fight by decision in the second round, third round, none of that. So we are dealing with someone who, again, is explosive in that first round. He is dangerous. But people are bringing up this narrative of he ragdolls people with his wrestling. We haven't seen that enough to actually give that a stamp of like, oh, his wrestling is so phenomenal. He really ragdolls and puts it on display. We haven't seen that. So I don't know where this is coming from. Maybe it's gym talk leaking out. So I'm not putting faith in that because I haven't seen enough of it. And the people that he has beaten in his last, couple fights and his wins are terrible fighters in the lightweight division. So I'm saying all this because I get McKinney is a 5 minute fighter, but he is fighting someone who is durable. I get Borshchev has been knocked down by Chase Hooper of all people, but let's not disrespect Chase Hooper.
Don't sleep on Chase Hooper, yeah.
Because his hands are evolving.
Yep.
And Borshchev is a very nice kickboxer. He is very skilled kickboxer. Now, the takedown defense needs some work, yes. But I'm not going to put all my eggs in this basket of McKinney is a wrestler and he's going to have a good IQ and wrestle Borshchev for 15 minutes. So, yeah, I'm taking the underdog here. I'm going to Vyacheslav Borshchev to be durable enough in that first round. He's going to have output. He trains with Team Alpha Male, which I think they are hammering the wrestling, the takedown defense. Faber is getting this Borshchev guy right in the gym. Now it has to translate. I get it, but I don't know, man. I'm not here for the Terrence McKinney. Like he is this guy that people think he is. I've seen him fade way too much. And I know it's against some good, decent fighters here, but I think Borshchev is an interesting matchup for McKinney because he is durable. And if this gets out of the first round, which I think it does, I think Vishal Borshchev just kind of has his way in the kickboxing department against Terrence McKinney. And McKinney is going to throw and miss a lot of big punches, and that's where cardio just kind of dumps. So a good cardio is something that you like. It just doesn't come along in your UFC career. Like I feel like you either have good cardio or you don't. It's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard to
You
gain
don't
that.
develop cardio like
Yeah,
that.
you just
yeah.
can't. So yeah, McKinney's still a 5-minute fighter, and I'm taking someone who has shown me that he's durable.
This is his 24th professional fight. Like if you're not, the cardio's not there. And like you said, it's one thing in the gym,
It's one thing in the gym.
but when you're out there in front of the lights, that's a crazy stat that I was just looking up with you. Like that, the getting out of the first round is so rare for him. And again, it's not just wins though; it's losses. He's getting touched too, and he's getting finished too. Like he has 5. He's been knocked out 5 times in his career. Like it is. It's a man. Yeah, like Borshchev and like that's a crazy stat that he hasn't gotten them when he gets out of the first round. I think it was like one time he made it out of the first, and that was to the second.
Yeah,
It wasn't even like to a full 15. It was to the second round.
So let me just get my Borshchev claim here. Like he lost to Tom Nolan, went 15 minutes with Tom Nolan, who is a prospect and a lengthy grappler, a good striker. Okay. So James Longtop, he went split decision with Longtop. Now Longtop has one of the most ridiculous chins I have seen since prime Tony Ferguson, probably. Longtop, yeah, he like Borshchev should have knocked him out, but you can't knock someone for having a durable chin. So Longtop, that win by split, I think is impressive that Borshchev could last 15 minutes, put on that onslaught that he did on Longtop. Like if he hits those strikes that he did with Longtop to McKinney, McKinney's going out. And then before that, he lost to Chase Hooper, got subbed. Okay, you can have that. No shame in that.
No shame in that.
He had a draw versus Nazim Sadikov, Sadikov just won on Saturday, and I'm a huge fan of Naz. But and then he knocked out Machate. Like, people are so. I think people are harsh on the wins and losses when they look at just the wins and losses. I don't think people are actually watching these fights and going back and watching tape and really getting in their opinion for themselves. And I think people are just latching on to things. But it's all that to say, I got the underdog here, and I think he wins by knockout in the second.
I like it. Right. Up next, got a top 10 matchup at women's flyweight.
Oh,
I think this is look. Spoiler alert! I think this is a fraud check fight too. We have the number 8 ranked flyweight in the world, Vivian Araujo, plus 205 dog to Miss Brian Ortega, number 10 ranked, Tracy Cortez, the minus 250 favorite. I am curious to hear what you think because, like I said, I think this is a Tracy Cortez fraud check.
Yeah, you have every right to feel like that. When this was announced and the lines were kind of put out for this fight, I was shocked to see that Tracy Cortez was this wide of a favorite.
Yeah.
Almost 3-1. She's minus 255 that I see on ESPN here, which is shocking, especially what Vivian Araujo just did to a hype prospect in Karina Silva. Listen, Tracy Cortez has some really underrated hands. Her boxing has really picked up, and she has sharpened her boxing. We saw that in her fight versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. Like she was giving Jasmine hell in the striking department, which I think could be interesting here. Like the exchanges in this fight. but we kind of just saw that Tracy having trouble with Rose, and in that fight, she missed weight and had to cut her hair to make weight. It was a very scary scene.
That was rough.
So I just think that Tracy, this is not her weight class, man. I think she is going to move up pretty soon here. I'll be surprised if she doesn't, because this weight cut is tough for her. And I think she's going to miss weight on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if she made cutting to this weight is tough for her. But skill set wise, the boxing is nice, the hands are nice, and she has some wrestling, which I wish she would have used more and kind of be more effective. I think that could open up things for her stand up in boxing as well if she used her wrestling a little bit more. Tracy has some I think she has a little bit of dog in her, and again, this Mexican spirit, she really kind of carries that with her, and it shows in her performance. Like, she'll really get down and dirty, and if she needs to do it, she'll just throw hands, which I respect. But Araujo has been a staple in this strawweight division for years, and she's very light. She's very light on her feet. She has a really good, solid jab. She's really strong. When Araujo wants to settle down on her punches, she's strong, bro. She has that thud in her punches. And if Tracy wants to wrestle, Araujo is really nasty on the grappling as well. She has some good submissions as well in her career. This fight I kind of went back and forth on because I do respect the boxing of Tracy, and again, she can use the wrestling. I think she wins by decision here.
Okay.
There is value on an underdog here. I think you guys should sprinkle something on the Araujo on Saturday, just because that value is just insane to pass up. But I'm gonna go Tracy Cortez by decision. I think it's a 29-28 split maybe, and yeah. So
Tracy Cortez passed the fraud check.
But Drew is on the underdog, I'm guessing.
It's not even that. It's just it's been the last, like you said, last time we saw her, that weight cut was scary.
Let me look at this.
And that was the first, I guess you would kind of call it, I mean, without a doubt, it was the biggest step up of her career, fighting Rose. And it's been a year. And in that time, she was supposed to get Miranda Maverick, but the injury happened and everything. Back from surgery, you never know how that's going to go. Like we said about the last fight, sparring is one thing. What you see in the gym is one thing. When you get out there in action, who knows? And this is this is a fighter that's ranked ahead of you who is pushing 40. Who, honestly, this is your chance to show that you belong and that you are solid in that top 10, even if you are going to move up, if the cut is too much for you. So I just think that this is I think it's a good test, and I think it's a real life check of all right, let's see if you really belong, you gonna handle, but even if it is 29-28 split, but you're gonna get this job done.
Yeah.
Year layoff, long time, all that, you're gonna make it happen. You're gonna make us forget about last time we saw you cutting your hair off. I'm just curious to see that. That's my whole thing. I'm with you. I think it's a Cortez win. Close, maybe.
I think it's gonna be close.
But yeah, I think more than anything, I'm curious to see the fraud check and all of this and see hey, are you for real or not?
So what's giving me hesitation right now, as I was kind of looking at the fights of Araujo, her last 5. And I was looking at Tracy's last 5, and losing to Rose is, Rose is Rose.
Yeah.
But she was struggling in that fight because Rose is so light on her feet, and she moves, and she's so, she kind of just moves and sticks and moves. So, but her most impressive win with Tracy Cortez is Jasmine Jasudavicius, who is very flat-footed wrestler who couldn't get the takedowns and was piecing up Jasmine on the feet. So, and Vivi does have some good movement. She really uses the cage, all around. She's side to side, so.
It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a good one, man.
You know what? Yeah, give me a pick flip.
I mean, I was gonna say maybe
Yeah.
because we got to see her on the scale too.
So yeah, right now I'll give Tracy Cortez by decision right now, but on my socials when I post my last picks, you may see a pick flip here with me. I do need to see Tracy on the scale though, because I don't think she makes weight. So we'll see.
All right, TBD then.
TBD.
All right, we're gonna move on to featherweight. We have undefeated fighter the Hurricane Amil as the dog plus 142 on DraftKings against Jose Miguel Delgado.
This is one of my favorite fights on this card. I think this fight is going to be explosive. I think both of these guys bring just this dog to the fight, and it's going to be nonstop for as long as it lasts. So like I said, Hyder Amil is a junkyard dog. Proper nickname for being the Hurricane, because his volume and output is just insane. And him training with Gilbert Melendez, is that Gilbert has him just tuning things up, and he's looking good, man. Hyder Amil, especially at 35 years old, which is he's kind of heading into that, a little bit older for the sport, but I wish he got started a little bit younger, but he's still a good fighter and exciting to watch. With Delgado, though, he throws a lot of combinations, and he is training with Benson Henderson. Shout out to Benson Henderson.
One of the just all-time greats who just
one of the
slept on, man.
One of the swaggiest fighters ever stepped foot in this UFC.
Nasty 55er, bro.
This man will beat your ass with a toothpick in his mouth. Like, come
real
on.
Life.
Toothpick, just
real life. The whole fight. That's insane.
Yeah, he's low-key underrated, one of the underrated champions of the UFC, man. But he was in a class of just some really nasty.
Those Pettis fight, like, come on, man. Oh, yeah. Yep.
So Delgado was with him. So we're having this, Henderson versus Arenas, Melendez, sorry.
Get it back to the Bellator versus WEC right now, man. I like that.
But yeah, Delgado throws a lot of combinations, and he keeps everything tight, with his guard and the way he throws. He's gonna have that reach advantage here, and this man is smooth, brother. Like the style, the stand up, he has the ground game too. Hyder Amil has definitely fought the better competition in his UFC run, but Delgado not so much. And this will be the most impressive win if he can pull this off. So with being being the Hurricane and being a junkyard dog, Hyder Amil is exposed to being hit, and he really throws from the side, he throws from the hip, kind of leaves his chin up and exposed. To do that against Delgado, I worry for him to knock him out. Hyder Amil has been rocked before. He kind of wins off these exchanges where he gets caught, kind of has to fight back, and then it knocks out his opponent in some of his fights. And I just don't know how much that style lasts against some good talent. So I think this is the most technical, sound fighter that Hyder Amil has fought. And it's crazy to say that because Delgado is 27 years old. This will be his second fight in the UFC. But the skill set I'm seeing from Delgado, I think this is just a good skill set matchup for Delgado to kind of have a really good showing here. I think there's going to be some really exciting scrambles grappling wise, but in the stand up, Hyder Amil might get pieced up on the feet here. Give me Jose Miguel Delgado to win by TKO.
Okay.
And I was heavy on Hyder Amil. Even yesterday I was, but I tweeted that I was going to take Hyder Amil. I tweeted that. I replied to somebody. I was
Put it on wax.
Yeah, I was like, Hyder Amil, yeah, he's the dog. I went back to watching film, and I was like, Delgado's pretty nice, bro. I'm not gonna. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a pick switch for me, but yeah, give me Delgado. I just can't pass up the skill set of Delgado against the little bit of a wildness hurricane of Hyder and Mill. So yeah.
All right. Next we have the feature bout on the prelims. It's gonna be a middleweight Jack the Joker Hermansson, plus 164 dog, against one of my favorite nicknames in the UFC, Gregory RoboCop Rodrigues. Talk to me on the feature the prelim.
Man, so I was really trying to find my way to pick Hermansson here.
Seems like a lot of people are on that this week.
I was really trying to find my way there, but I really couldn't after looking at RoboCop's last few fights. I know people are very high on Hermansson, probably based off that his last win against Pfeiffer. I'm glad to have picked Jack Hermansson to win that fight against a big favorite in Joe Pfeiffer. But to kind of dig deeper a little bit, like if that fight was 3 rounds, Jack Hermansson was going to lose that fight by probably a decision there. He was losing those two rounds, the first 2 rounds. When it got to the 3rd round, that's where Hermansson was kind of picking up things. And from that point on to that fight, Hermansson kind of took over with just pace, striking, missing the takedowns on Joe Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer kind of just his cardio just wasn't good to hold up for 25 minutes. So, and what kind of wanted me to, I was kind of trying to pick Jack, but especially after watching that Roman Delites fight, like he was winning that fight too. He was giving Roman hell in that fight, but he got caught in like a knee slicer, and Roman somehow with a strong ass like reversed from bottom. I don't know how, but he muscled his way from being on bottom, and he like got Jack in a knee slicer and just ground and pounded him to win by TKO. But Jack Hermansson was looking great in that fight, but until that happened, and Jack Hermansson has seen his fair share of heavy striker, heavy-handed punchers. He has beaten some. I think going to decision, losing by split decision to Sean Strickland is impressive. But Gregory Rodrigues just has the grappling and the jiu-jitsu to handle himself on the ground if Jack wants to shoot. I think Jack could find some odd rhythm timing on his jabs on the feet, but it's the physicality and the power of Rodrigues that just kind of worries me in this, especially for this being 15 minutes. I just don't think Hermansson's going to get off a lot of strikes enough to win these rounds against someone who is so good with the power in his hands and the jiu-jitsu. If Jack wants to shoot and test that, so I'm going to take RoboCop, and hopefully that line comes down a little bit, because that I may just try to see what's up with the bet for Rodrigues here. But give me RoboCop to win by decision.
From the sound of it, from just what I've been listening to again early on in the proceedings, it does seem like there might be some late money coming in, moving towards Hermansson as the week goes on. So that number might shrink a little. We might get a little closer to the even money, or at least half like that 198 on RoboCop. Let's get into the pay-per-view main card. Starting it off, bantamweight. The fighter I'm most jealous of because he gets to hang out with Frank. And also the plus 170 dog, according to DraftKings, 9-1 former. It was all good just a week ago. 9-1 former face of like the future of MMA, Peyton Talbott, against 14-1 Felipe Jungle Boy Lima. This gonna be a banger to open up the pay-per-view, man. Like this is, but tell me what you think. But also, I want to know what you think, man. Like, yo, is Talbot this generation's Sage Northcutt?
Oh gosh,
like, because it's like they're already over him. When just A couple fights ago, he was the next big thing. Loses one fight where, granted, it was rough.
It was rough.
And the things that he needs to fix don't just happen overnight. It takes time and time. But man, everybody turned their back on this kid all of a sudden.
The disrespect for Peyton Talbott this week has been shocking. Again, how fast these fans just kind of get off the train and shit on you is insane. That's why I can never be a professional athlete. It's just,
oh my god,
it's so crazy. But I do want to say, I think people are sleeping on Peyton Talbott this week, and I have Peyton Talbot winning this week. I'm gonna give it out. I'm gonna give it out straight like that.
Okay, straight like that.
I know Felipe Lima is very talented. He's a very talented striker. He also has some nasty jiu-jitsu, which Peyton Talbot was struggling with against an OG in Ronnie Barcelo's last fight. The way Lima looked against Miles John, I'll give him that. Miles John is not someone. He's not an easy person to, look good against for 15 minutes, but. I think people are forgetting what Peyton Talbot is like on the feet and the striking. This man is freaking nasty, guys. And I think with the hate and the people getting off the hype train of Peyton Talbot, they're just forgetting the skill that this man has. Yes, you cannot evolve the ground game, stuff like that overnight. But he has been taken down, and he got exposed in his last fight for being taken down a lot. But again, I think Barcelos had to get tricky with his sweeps. But we've seen Peyton Talbot defend takedowns. We can't act like he hasn't defended takedowns. Like, he has defended many takedowns in his UFC run. And he just ran into a veteran OG who is just nice like that. And I get it. But, with this time splitting between hanging out with Frank Ocean and the gym and training for this camp, I think he can defend some takedowns from Lima. But man, Lima better be careful, because the striking of Peyton Talbot is still serious. He's still 26 years old and still growing. His output is insane. His volume is insane. This man's landing 7 strikes per minute. Like, that is crazy. And his accuracy with the volume is still high. Like, I understand it, and I wish these two fighters weren't fighting so soon in their career.
Yes.
I hate this fight because these guys are so talented. But man, we gotta stop acting like we forgot and just stop hating, and just see skill for skill. Which I'm a fan of Lima here, but to see the big plus 160 by Peyton Talbot, give me the skill and then the odds of the underdog. I'm taking Peyton Talbot to win. Give me
that main card dog.
I was going to say knockout, but let me be nice. I'm going to say decision.
I agree. Look, man,
Peyton Talbot by decision is my call, guys. And if I'm wrong, damn.
So I like that you brought up you brought up my main concern with this fight, which, aside from like I said before, the scrambling, the defense, the ground game, and all that's gonna come.
It is.
He's 26, bro.
Yes.
He's 26. All right. 26 years old, and it's only this is gonna be his 11th professional fight. Like, that's nuts. In this sport, you're not even hitting your peak yet.
No.
You're not even hitting that real run of runs in this sport when you're 26. So he's still got time. Now, my main concern is, like you said, when he's not busy running around doing the other stuff. How serious does he want to be with it? Yeah. How much I don't see him as a type to buy his own hype, but that's easy for us to say because it could easily happen to you too. 1 second you're up at UNR kicking it, studying music and watching Connor highlights, and you want to be a fighter, and the next minute you're hanging out with one of the most elusive artists and you have all this exposure and you're starring in his little music video and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, then you go out and get absolutely smoked by Barcelos, who, by the way, that started a 3-fight win streak for Barcelos, but that's
Look at
never
this
mind
man
that.
go.
But like, it's just I want to know how serious
It's important.
he is.
Yeah.
Because this is a potentially crucial, like it's almost like a crossroads of a career for him. It sounds crazy after all I just said with Young and only this many fights, but brother, if you're going to be serious about it, then be serious about it. Take it seriously, because they tried to set you up for the showcase the last fight. Let's be real. That was a setup for him to just take that, like for him to be the third like fight on this card. Not, third pay-per-view fight, not opening it up, and that's only because they took the heavyweights off. So that's what I'm more worried about. And for me, this has the potential to be a much more dangerous fight than the Barcelos fight too, because of Lima's striking and because of the I guess the potential for Talbott to get sucked into the striking fest and all of that. However, I do think he's serious. I still think he's a special talent. And I think that this last fight was the fight that was supposed to be the big showcase, right? The one that pushes him through. But it just so happened to be stylistically against somebody who had the perfect recipe and just worked him. I think this is going to be the opposite of that. And I think this will be the real showcase of him to really put on display what he's good at. And I think it'll work out in his favor. And I think it's the same thing. I think I'll go Talbot by decision.
Yeah. And I really hope to see him mentally there. And I think we'll see some body language from the press conference coming up on Thursday. We get to see him kind of be out in the crowd, and because I'm not really looking up, or clips are not going around of him yet. Yeah. So
kind of see where he's at, see where his mental is at, whereas if he's kind of looks locked in, they're
some
fully
answers
focused.
here, some answers here and there. So, but I agree with Drew. Like, this is important fight for him, especially against another young prospect here, a tough one. But the striking is just so,
bro, and they're all down on you right now. I want to see how you bounce back.
Yeah,
I want to see if you're pissed off about that. If you're like, wait a minute, y'all were just on me.
Oh, to see him,
and now y'all hate. Now y'all almost almost 2-1.
Man,
like, yeah, I want big middle fingers to all the casuals and everyone who turned their back on him. That's what I want. That's what I expect on Saturday.
Yeah, man. Give me Payne Talbot by decision, man.
There it is. Next fight up. Great fight.
Woo!
Again, one of the two fights that really showcases one of the more exciting divisions in the UFC. It's at flyweight. The number 1 ranked flyweight in the world, Brandon Raw Dog Royval, the -115 against one of the most active fighters, Kevin Hollandish run. Number 11 just fought 3 weeks ago. The fearless, living up to his name, Joshua Van. Short notice fight, replacing Manel Kopp. Yeah. This was his. Yeah. What do you think, man? Number 1 against the young guy who's just on an incredible run right now.
I love Joshua Van, and I think he deserves all the hype that he's getting right now. But I think people are being very dismissive of Brandon Royval's craftiness in the striking and the grappling. Now, I know Joshua Van is known for defending a lot of stuff, a lot of takedowns, but I've seen this man get his back taken. And if Brandon Royval was that person, I think Brandon Royval would have found that finish. Now, Joshua Van has grown a lot in his fights, and he's had a really good little opponents that he's kind of tested his skill with. And we've seen the boxing. The boxing is amazing, and the boxing could be problems for Royval because Royval is, again, he's crafty, but he does get hit a lot in his fights. He's been sat down before. He's been knocked down before, but There's no giving up in Royval. You're gonna have to kill Brandon Royval to win this fight. And I think the narrative of the Josh Van slow start is kind of out of the window now. In his last few fights, he's really put on a really fantastic pace over 15 minutes. And he's got tested against a very skillful jiu-jitsu person in Tatsuda.
Yeah, Tatsura Tyra.
Yeah, like that was an impressive performance from Joshua Van. And it was good to see him fight against someone who is jiu-jitsu heavy and grappling heavy. But I hate this fight for Joshua Van because it is so short notice. Like, I would easily take Joshua Van in a heartbeat for a full camp. But to jump up in opportunity in this, which is a big opportunity for him, but it's a big jump in competition for Joshua Van. Like, Brandon Royval is a fucking dog, and
he's fought who's who at 25
at the flyweight division.
Like, period.
And his last two fights against Brandon Moreno, he looked great against Moreno, and then he fought another.
That was the Tyra fight.
The Tyra fight.
Royval was Ray Saruya.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah. Like, I know those are split decisions, but 25 minutes against those two guys,
man.
Like,
after 25 minutes with Pantoja, like, that's the bounce back. After 25 minutes with Pantoja is 50 minutes with these two guys.
Like, I think we're going to see a high pace, high output Brandon Royval here. And I think Joshua Van is just I think he's buying into his own hype, which I'm not banging, like, dismissing that, but I just think this is a huge jump in competition. I'm like, I know Brandon Royval can get touched up and he's hittable. I get it. But the jiu-jitsu game, the grappling game of Royval is being slept on in this fight. To have him almost submit Tyra is insane. And to kind of not outbox, but have moments in these boxing exchanges against Moreno, who's a very talented boxer as well. And I hopefully we get Joshua Van versus Moreno one day, just for the boxing aspect of that fight. Like, yeah, I think Royval is being slept on a little bit here, because I think, Van just, the fresh face, the new person, making waves. And yeah, I'm gonna take Royval by decision here, man. I think this is a bit of a lesson that Van will be taught the hard way. Pause, but you're 23. Let's just take a little bit slow. Let's calm down on the fighting every month. And but man, Joshua Van, if Joshua Van loses this fight, the bounce back is going to be fucking insane. And this guy's going to go on a run.
See, and that's why I don't mind, right? I don't mind him taking it.
Yeah, okay.
Because for one, he's 23. If you're gonna be on a run like this, do it now, I guess, right?
Which I like, yeah.
While you're 23, because he's in a no-lose situation, right? You lose, it was a short camp against the #1 ranked fighter, who has an incredible resume under his belt, almost 10 years older than you. And if you win, I mean, that you right there, you can immediately call out the champ, because no matter who the champ is at that point by the end of Saturday night, but you can call him out, because why not, man? You just beat #1. What, maybe you see how long the bounce back is, and you have him fight Cop as a #1 contenders fight, or like a Urseg before, to kind of be like, all right, are you for real? Or but I think this is a no lose for Joshua Van. And again, someone who has it seems as long a career as they'd like ahead of him, that I think regardless of this decision will feature challenging for a title. Royval, look, I think Royval goes out and just absolutely slams the door on the hype train. If I'm Royval, I'm feeling so disrespected right now. Like, I ain't shit. Y'all are really riding this youngster who's just knocking people out. I think you're 1,000% correct on the grappling of Royval, and I think here's my thing that in my opinion will determine this fight. Short notice, just don't be proud. Brother, if you got to go out there and fight for every takedown you need to get or get it to the ground however you need to get it to the ground to avoid the boxing and the striking with Van and just school him for 15 minutes, then do it. Then do it. Don't be up in here like, oh, I'm gonna buy into the hype and we're gonna get out here and bang it out because it's short. Nah, brother, keep your eyes on the prize. Shut it down. Be done with it. Call out the champ, call out cop, call out whoever, but just stick short notice fights, man. It's weird what it can do to the mental, like because it could get you real hyped to go out there and want to be in a firefight with somebody just because you kind of have the backup of like, well, I'm still here, I'm still fighting. So even if nah, bro, get the job done. Don't be on no bullshit. I think Royval's gonna be on that. I think I don't want to say a shutout, maybe like a gentleman's 30-27. But just kind of showing like, hey man, there's still levels to this, and I'm the number one fighter at 25 for a reason.
So I want this fight to be exciting, but I think Royval is going to slow down the striking and the onslaught and the volume of Van.
Yep.
And I can see this fight being just a really boring, for the casuals who are just watching. You're going to probably hate this fight because I do have Royval holding Van against the cage, doing some nasty clinch work, maybe get the back and grapple a little bit while Van is standing up type stuff. Like, yeah, that's why I have Royval by decision because I think Van's may have moments here and there, but I think the grappling and just Royval being smart, IQ, holding him against the cage, getting the control time against the cage is going to win him this fight. And I think he's going to do some nasty work on the peel, on the exits, land some big shots there. Like, it may just be that OG veteran lesson that Van gets. So
there it is. That eventually will make Van a better fighter over the course of time. You know what I mean? But I think Saturday, I think it to your point too, that's a quick turnaround, man.
It's crazy.
It's not like you just got somebody out of here in 20 seconds or anything. Like you were like, it's So I'm with you. I like Royval by decision.
Hell yeah, nice.
Next up, another top 10 matchup, much like the ladies fight on the prelims. You have one of the most slept on fighters in the lightweight division. Welcome back, number 9 ranked Benil Dariush.
Let's go.
Benny, let's get back. Plus 120 dog to the number 10 ranked lightweight in the world, Renato Money Moicano. I call him a not so overrated Moicano. In case you were wondering where I stand on this fight, talk to me, brother. Welcome Benny back after 2 years.
You know what? And this is why I love when my brothers here breaking down fights with me, because we are both on Benny Dariush.
Come on, man. Like, what?
We are disrespecting someone who just came back off 2 losses to Charles Oliveira, who's fighting for a belt.
Yep.
And Armin Sarukian, who should have been fighting
Islam. Was challenging for a belt. Like, come on.
Guys.
What are we talking about?
Before that, I know this was 3 years ago, but he embarrassed Gamrot.
Gamrot?
Absolutely embarrassed Gamrot. And now I think someone who is maybe less of that fighter compared to Gamrot, as far as grappling goes, I think, Moicano, I think Benny Dariush kind of just outclasses Moicano here anywhere he wants to. I think people are kind of overrating the stand-up and the striking of Moicano. I think we've seen what Benil Dariush can do on the ground and the grappling, where Moicano wins most of his fights. Guys, I know Benny Dariush hasn't been fighting, but he has had fights being canceled, people pulling out of fights. So he's been training. It's just people are pointing out fights, and
this was a rebooking because they were initially supposed to fight. The last time we saw Moicano was him losing a title
Islam.
fight
Yeah.
to Islam on what was it, a couple days, the night's notice or something like that. Like, so yeah, Benny is supposed to have been active. It's not his fault all the way.
And watching an interview of him that happened last month of Beneil Dariush, he looks happy. He looks really ready to go. He's fully healthy. I know he hasn't fought in 2 years, but he's healthy, recovered. He's happy to fight, and this man brings violence. And I think Moicano, when he is the nail and someone is pressing the fight, when someone's bringing the fight to Moicano, this man is not reliable. And we can look at the fights, we can look at the performances. If Jalen Turner didn't celebrate that trying to walk off win,
oh my gosh,
we wouldn't be talking about Moicano like this. Moicano has been almost fraud checked a lot. Like, I don't know, guys.
Let's be real here, okay? When you really get down to it, this I always thought it was weird. The rise of him last year, like the last year and a half or so, that little rise that he had, what was it based off of? Brad Rydell, Drew Dober, Jalen Turner, who again, he just walked off on you instead of finishing you because he had you dead to rights.
3 more punches and you're like,
instead of following you down like any other fighter does, he decides that he just got a walk off when he didn't even have a walk off. So, and then you followed up with the BSD fight.
Now, if that fight goes to the 3rd round, BSD, I think BSD was coming on strong, and like that. Yeah, I don't know. I think that fight's different if the doctor doesn't stop it.
He just happens to be in the right place at the right time.
I think that's where it is.
For Sarukian not being able to fight, and he's just like, well, you're on the card too. And if Benny had won one of the previous 2, who's to say he wouldn't have, So I think this is a huge fraud check fight for Moicano. I think there's one way and one way only he can win this fight, or most fights for that matter. And that's by getting you to the ground, laying on you, and throwing a sub on you. I also think Benny gonna knock him the fuck out. Get him out of here, man. I think Benny's gonna whoop his ass. I don't know why. I think Benny is good. Because let's be real, I think Benny low-key is a savage. He got the gray hair. He looks like a dad. He's super nice. Like he's so nice, man. Like, and that's why I like it. He's just a regular dude who will go beat your fucking ass.
This man loves violence, bro. Like Dariush loves to fight, and he said it in his interview. I'm so happy to get back in there. I love to fight. I love to do this. He don't care who it is. He wants to fight. And Moicano, he's all about making money, and I'm sure he got paid very, very well after putting up the, that 1 round, whatever.
For no work.
For Islam.
No work.
I'm sure the Dana White paid him nicely for stepping on short notice to save that card. But I'm sure his money motivations are just not that hungry anymore. I'm sure he's not starving for that paycheck. Like, I need to make this money. I need to make this money. This man has opened up a gym. He's a father, or going to be a father. So I feel like there's just a lot of things in his life that I don't think he shows up motivated on Saturday. And
he's on his Kevin Holland right now.
He might just be. And again, stylistically, this is a terrible matchup for Moicano, guys.
It's a slam dunk stylistically matchup.
And I think for people who are not saying that, I think they just kind of see the Oliveria Sarukian knockout for Dariush and they're like, oh, this guy sucks. Like, guys, come on now. What are we doing here? Are we casuals here, or welcome to the Washington UFC? Like, you guys are new here, must be.
Yeah, I love that live dog. I hope it goes up. I hope we're sitting there on Saturday night and right before fight time, I get to put it on Benny like plus 160, 170, man.
Guys, like Drew said, live betting this to see how that first round goes. So I think Moicano may have some things here and there that maybe sways the lines heavy to his favor. If that Dariush kind of gets a plus something, like more than that, like, yeah.
Dude, load up on Benny, period, for me. Because even if you're getting him, I'll look right now. We're live on. I have Benny at as high as plus 130 on ESPN. My app Caesars and BetMGM have him plus 130. Like, if we can keep pumping that one up, oh my gosh, I love that action on Benny.
Yeah, and I think both of them have taken damage, but I think Dariush can handle being rocked and coming back a little bit better than Moicano can. Now I know that Moicano, beat Jalen Turner, came back in that next round, but when things are going sideways and when shit hits the fan, give me my money on Dariush to bounce back and just keep on with the pressure and the game plan a little bit better than Moicano.
Love that.
Give me Dariush by knockout
All day.
We're calling
All
it,
day.
guys.
All day.
Oh my god!
See you on the next pod with that one. We're gonna be talking our shit on that one. Up next, we have the co-main event of the evening, which is going to be the flyweight championship.
All right.
Between, in my opinion, a guy who he's starting to get closer to knocking on that door. DJ, be careful.
Yeah, for real.
29-5, the champion, the cannibal, Alessandro Pantoja, the -258 favorite against
many men wish death upon me. That's the hardest walkout song in the UFC right now, probably.
City Boxing's finest. Number 4, don't blink, man. KKF, Kai Kara, France, +210 dog. Kai Kara, Pantoja, talk to me.
The underdog is very, very interesting in this fight. The power that Kara France has in this fight is, it's something not to be ignored.
Mm-hmm.
This man, has a nice right hand, but there are times in his fights that I've seen where he kind of just does not throw. The activity is low. He kind of waits for moments to appear, and then he goes. But he got caught in that Albazi fight to where he wasn't really throwing at all, and he was losing rounds and minutes in the rounds, and he lost that decision. People think he won that fight, but again, he let opportunities pass him up by not throwing anything. Now, I think he's kind of dealing with a different person here in Pantoja, who has a bully-like style. This man is he's a berserker. He really goes after it, and I feel like his striking has really, really improved. Like his kicks mixed with the punches, mixed with grappling you, and this man is so active. Like he'll be doing something and then already working on something else.
He's like 3 steps ahead, bro. It's crazy.
This man is so crazy the way he puts things together, the way he finds your back as well. Just when you think you're a good grappler, like defensive grappler, this man will find your back and submit you standing up. Like Pantoja is one of the most disrespected fighters and champions probably on this roster. I don't understand. This man gives us performances he gives us finishes. He finishes fights. He's violent. Like, I don't get why this man is just being shitted on all the time and by fans, and like people don't care. But I'll say all that to say this, that Kai Kara France has the power to change this fight at any moment. But Pantoja has the tools to just put on a masterclass, an MMA masterclass, to overwhelm a Kai Kara France. I know Kai Kara France has looked good against grapplers. Asakura, not Asakura, the Russian guy he beat. Let me see here.
I got you right here.
Askarov.
Yeah, Askarov.
Like that. He's looked good against defending takedowns here and there. But I think Pantoja is in this realm of like, I'm the shit, bro. Like, no one can do anything about it, and I'm gonna have my way with any button that the UFC puts in front of me. And I just think that this is Pantoja's time, and I just think he's in this era of just like, nah, I'm probably like the best flyweight, and he's working towards his way of being there. Like,
we're talking all time here too. Like, yeah.
I mean, this man has sunned Moreno. He's beaten Royval. They're trying to bring people from Japan to fight him, to dethrone him.
Debuting for the title, and he's just making
he whooped his ass. Dude. Oh my gosh.
Urseg.
That was a good fight. That was a really good fight.
Yeah, man.
Urseg put up a great fight, and people like me had high hopes in Steve Urseg since that fight, and he hasn't really lived up to it since. But I'm saying, guys, like, Pantoja is that dude, and I think he's going to show it again. I really love the Kai Franz love because I think he's a genuinely good dude. I love how he displays the culture on the big stage, but man, that culture just is not going to help you in this fight, my brother. I'm so sorry, but give me Pantoja by submission. And I think Kai. I think Kai hasn't been submitted before yet, or probably has been submitted once in his career. And I think we're going to make it the first time or the second time that he's been submitted. So give me Pantoja to somehow find an angle to lock up something, and he's going to crank on the chin, on the it don't matter, man. Give me Pantoja by just overwhelming Kai Franz with so many tools that he has to find a sub.
It's got a KKF's got three submission losses in his career. Only UFC one though was back Brandon Royval.
Oh, okay.
Back at UFC 253 got
that was a crazy fight.
Guillotine, yeah. Fight of the night.
That was a crazy fight.
I think you hit I think you said it perfect. KKF has game-changing power, obviously, right? However, there are too many times that it's like a chore to get him to put together and just throw bunches. Like with that power, you would think he would throw more. Man. No, he just relies on getting that one to connect, like the Ursig. He got the one. He just needs that one to connect. You can't do that with this dude, man. This dude is way too good to just rely on one punch knockout power.
Like he doesn't even have a jab to set up.
No, to set up the big shot, right?
And if he had a jab to set up things, like I would probably pick him. But again, he just lulls into these moments of like not doing anything and then looking for these big moments. And if I'm the coaches like Eugene, I would be like pulling my hair out, bro. Like, it's frustrating because Kai just has that power at flyweight, but
and then you look at the fact that, to me, Kai it's like Moicano, right? You have one way to win. Pantoja, as soon as Pantoja gets this to the ground, if he wants to get this to the ground, when he gets it, whatever, how, Kai? How are you going to deal with that? So, like your point, this man is thinking and moving 3 steps ahead of you in the middle of the fight. How are you going to deal with that on the ground against one of the best 25ers of all time? I don't think. I'm like you with Van and Royval, right? On paper, this is a fun fight. This is a great fight. It has the chance to be exciting and be a 25-minute classic. In reality, I think it might be a cautious first round with maybe some
minimal.
Maybe Pantoja might feel a little bit of the power and be like, okay, and then second round, maybe third round. I think he finishes him same way. I think he gets this thing to the ground. He grabs a hold of that neck, gets whatever, however he wants, and I think he finishes him by submission in the second or third. My big thing is, well, for me, the more interesting thing in this fight is, what do you do with him next?
Kai France or Pantoja?
Pantoja. Kai France, I don't think that. I think you kind of know what you have with him. So at that point, but with Pantoja, it's like, well, because he's up.
What if Joshua Van somehow just
that's the only thing, right?
Knocks out Royval.
That's what we have left to hope for, right? Because Pantoja's beaten Cop, beat Kai, beat Moreno, Figgy's done. Figgy's out the division now, so you can't even look at that like, yeah, you kind of have to. Van is really that's it. And the Infinity Stones at flyweight.
And Van is like the only like young fighter kind of moving up in the rankings.
Yeah.
And having these performances and just like, yeah. So again, kind of like heavyweight, like flyweight's kind of like on his last little legs here with like contenders. Like it's really getting thin up here. And that's why people like Dana are bringing people from Japan, from different organizations to face Pantoja.
You get to skip the line for a title shot.
There's nothing. And yeah, so again, I just think Pantoja with this fight, he's just going to overwhelm. And I think, I forgot my thought.
Pantoja.
Yeah. Anyways, I won't even. Yeah, I just think Pantoja's going to look good in this fight. And here we go. Looking at Kai France's kind of his resume of fighters, he has struggled with people who are faster than him. He struggles with speed, and Pantoja somehow has gone faster. I think fighting Moreno 4 times has really picked up his output and volume. The only people who can match that volume that Kai France has faced is Brandon Moreno. I think he just struggles with the speed fighters and the speed of these fighters. And I just think Pantoja's going to win by submission. He's going to find that back, and I think he's going to win by rear naked choke.
Oh man. Tagir?
Nah.
Look, man, I'm reaching here. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying.
It's lonely up there.
Yeah, man. Like, cause yeah, like you can't even. Yeah, he's gonna clean out the division, man. So that's it. Is what
if Joshua Van wins and gets even a decision win, like
it doesn't matter.
Just a win.
Get a win, split decision, don't matter.
Van is next, and I think it's an exciting young fighter to hopefully pull off a huge upset against Pantoja, to have a young champion and someone who is active, and so. But I just don't see it, man.
Because you can't even. I mean, yeah, like so you can't even. Tyra, he doesn't have. No, you can't. It's Van or bust. For the flyweight division,
it really is, and I know Royval's calling for that rematch, but even then, again, Pantoja just has the.
I get it, but that's. Oh, so yeah, all right. Look at both Pantoja by sub, with you on that, and that's gonna lead us to the main events of the evening. Baby. One of the most anticipated 155-pound title fights ever.
Oh, talk that I like that.
The People's Champion, and I'm calling him that, god damn it. Number 2 lightweight in the world. And remarkably, a plus 350 dog on DraftKings. Charlie Du Bronx Oliveira.
Oh man.
Against
so crazy, bro.
Look, man, you know how I think of this dude? He is the Kendrick Lamar of MMA.
The
boogeyman, the villain. Oh, man. Who just vacated his 45 belt to move up and chase Islam, if we're being honest. Ilia Topuria, he's the man right now.
Man.
He gonna be the man on Saturday night, though. I'm gonna be racking my brain up until the fight starts on Saturday, if we're being real. But we're gonna try our best to get our thoughts out now. Talk to me, man. How you got it going?
I hate to see that big plus sign by Charles. It hurts.
It's so pause. It's so big.
It's so crazy. Like Charles, man. We shared a moment in Walmart a few months ago.
Facts, man.
That's just
I popped on that one when you sent me that one.
That's the guy,
that one, bro. That's the homie for life.
Man, I just, you know what? You go through the career of Oliveira from 145 to 155, and yes, he's a great fighter, has that warrior spirit, but there's one thing that you cannot dismiss is how many times this man has been rocked. How many times that this man has had to fight back in fights. How many times that this man has been he called it quits, tapped out for being knocked down too much. Like, the chin has always been exposed, and it's always been like, oh, can Charles fight back and he get back into this? It's always been that, and he, a lot of times he has fought back. He's 35 years old. He has a lot of miles on his body. And we kind of seen him use his wrestling in his last performance against Chandler. A lot more wrestling than what we have seen in the past from Oliveira. But to slow down the strong strikes and the wildness of Chandler, Oliveira had to pull out the wrestling and kind of just, use his grappling to get in some safe positions here with Chandler. But like Ilia is just something else, and for him to be at 155, he's feeling amazing. So he says, not cutting the weight. This man, when he was at 145, would have to start his camps, and his cutting and weight diet is like weeks out to hit that 145 mark. For him to look rejuvenated and healthy, and he's not thickening his body out so much. He's still keeping that slim frame, but the power is going to carry, the speed is going to carry. It's just what I've seen in the past from Charles, how much he gets hit. I just hate it. And to kind of fight that for people who are picking Oliveira, Ilia does get touched up too. Like, in the Volk fight, Volk was touching him with the jab all night before he before he got knocked out. Max was looking good in that fight before everything went shit and went left for Max. So Ilia does get, jabbed up pretty nicely. The nose is always busted. So I get it. And I'm not, if you want to put some money on the underdog here, go for it. Because yes, Ilia does get touched up, and he has been rocked at 155 before against Jai
Herbert, that kick.
And people are going to pull that card, and I get it. But
also watch for about another minute and a half or so and see how that ends up.
But we need to we need to stop acting like people don't grow from fights, and like we need to stop acting like people don't, fix their shit and retool and get things a little bit sharper when the tool set. I think Ilia is the best boxer in the UFC right now, and I think he's going to display the power he has at 155 because he slept Jai Herbert nasty. And I think just because Oliveira is known for just being exposed and his chin has just always been that, he's going to get knocked out, bro. And I'm so sorry, Charles. It hurts me to say that out loud. But I do not like, if you want to put some money on Charles because that value is just too good and he's fought back many, many times, I just don't see him fighting back from this one, man.
It just hurts you to hear you say that out loud.
I hate saying that, bro. I hate saying it, but I'm buying the hype of Ilia. The way he's talking in these interviews,
brother, it gives me chills.
I
love listening to this man talk because he's so calm. He speaks as like it's already happened almost, or like it's just inevitable. Like, no, this is what's gonna happen, bro. Like, it's just so. Look, this is, to me, this is the chance, right? All right. Spoiler alert. I think Ilia knocks out Charles. And it hurts me to say that, man. It's one of my favorites. This is the chance for Charles to me. The size, for one. The size difference. And you said it, and I don't believe in it, but it is going to be the card everyone pulls, like you said, the Jai Herbert. The kick. Ilia does get touched. Ilia is susceptible. Charles, great kicks. That's your chance right there.
We're going to see a kick in the first 15 seconds.
Without, if Charles is not headhunting with that kick, with the kicks, look.
Over under the first minute, we see a head kick from Charles Oliveira.
Like, I think that's the way. And then I think you got, personally, I would follow to the ground, and I would test what everyone claims is this great jiu-jitsu that they see in camp and in sparring and stuff, because
I want
we
to see it
haven't
too,
really
man.
seen it outside of like the Bryce Mitchell fight where he was ragdolling Bryce Mitchell around. I don't think he can do that to Charles.
Because Charles is a thick 155. He is a thick boy at 155.
Let's get down. I mean, he had one of the most bullshit losing his title by a half pound with that Gaethje fight. That was a joke, but rules is rules. Look, man, that's part of it. Is Ilia can get that head kick right, but it also, like, low key doesn't feel like a Charles fight unless at some point he gets dropped and you jump up out of your seat and you're like, no, Charles, get up, Charles. And then he does what he always, well, not always, but a lot of times does, is he regroups, he scrambles, he collects, he clinches, and he gets his wits back about him. But by that time, it's already late because the damage is done and you've lost the round. You can't give away rounds to this dude. You can't play with this dude. You can't let him get inside on you, because you say he's the best boxer in UFC right now. I think he's the best boxer in UFC history.
Ooh!
This dude, he's so, it's not the power. It's the power, right? Obviously. It's all that. Brother, he's so technical. He's so precise. He's measured. It's so crisp. The duck under the beat, like everything is just, it's right where it needs to be. Like picture perfect the way that he throws. And when he gets inside on you, man, look, when he starts throwing those little combos in between, the Herbert, that was a perfect one because it didn't even look. And then you just, next thing you know, bing, went upstairs on
He went to the body, and then he went to the head.
And dropped under and came up with the picture perfect hook. If he touches you, you're evaporated, period. And he's gonna touch Charles, I feel like.
So that's what worries me, is because he's such a technical boxer, he's making his reads and kind of getting touched up. He's getting jabbed up. But when it's time to go and when it's time to release these hands, the combinations to the body and then he comes upstairs is absolutely nasty work. This man is going to close that distance. He's going to get in Charles' space. And he's going to put on a nasty combination, maybe just one punch to get Charles out of here.
Because let's be real too. Like, I'm looking up the exact measurements now, but not a big difference between Max and Charles. Like
oh, really?
Build wise, you know what I mean? You got Max 5'11", he's 155. He's not as thick as Charles, but like if we're talking reach, reach, 69-inch reach for Max. I'm getting to Charles right now.
74.
See, that's crazy.
But again, guys, Charles
he got inside on Max though.
That's the thing.
And wasn't scared. And I'll take Max's boxing over Charles's all day. So for me, it's the kicks that he has to worry about. You don't have to or the clinch, because Charles got a nasty clinch game. If Charles can utilize the clinch, maybe, but then you leave yourself open to the body, and Ilia just whipping through your body or coming, just saying, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go right through and try to land some up through the middle." There's I can make a valid argument to routes to victory for both of them, but I just I believe it more with my head in Ilia. Whereas when I'm arguing for Charles, it's coming straight from the heart and from just my liking of him and just the memories and his whole career and just like, yeah, Charles is that guy, but also like it's always got to come to an end, my dude. And this is in a very top heavy 55 right now. I think this is probably the last run for Charles as like a title contender, I should say. I think this is started the Ilia chat. I wish there was a way we could get Islam to come back. Unless Ilia just scorches Charles in like the first and just gets on the mic and talks crazy, which I wouldn't be surprised to hear that either. Be like, hey, bro, you ran from me. You're going to go fight that dude. Like, nah, get your ass back here and come get these mitts.
And we've said it before on this channel. Like, we think Ilia and Islam, that match is like one of the best matches to make in the UFC right now.
We talked about this months ago. You remember talking about this with Aspinall and Jones, and then this, and it was always Islam versus Ilia. That was always the one. Like, and I don't think we ever get it, but who knows? But I think it's already started with Ilia, and I think it started with Volk and Holloway. Now we're gonna get to Oliveira, which, by the way, what a 3-fight run!
Oh my god!
Especially if you knock out all three, that's something to talk about. But I think that peep this. I think Ilia is gonna become what Conor was supposed to become.
Ooh, I like that.
Career-wise, except he's just a more intelligent and calm down villain. But I think career-wise, as far as like when you look back and you say, man, the greatness. You don't look back. No real MMA fan is going to look back at Conor McGregor and be like, man, he was great. His career is all time. But no, it's not. He was just one of the first to do it. He opened the door for a lot of people and a lot of eyes and stuff. But Conor McGregor wasn't that good. He was fine, but he wasn't that great. And the double champ and all that, that's great. But like, I think Ilia is really, my man invests in his, he's like LeBron. LeBron spends like $10 million every offseason on his body and stuff. Like, Ilia built the whole shit in his house, and he spends allegedly like $1 million a year on his personal maintenance and upkeep. Like, he really cares about this. This is what he is here to do. Has a great corner. His brother's incredible in the corner. Like, I think we're on the verge of something special here on Saturday.
What would be more crazy is if Ilia submits Oliveira, and if he like knocks him down and then snatches up a submission, that would be
forget about it. Though.
That would be insane.
I'd be done. I'd be like, no, you got it, bro. You did that. I don't care who's next.
But if Ilia wins by just finishing Charles, I'm taking this performance over Conor McGregor beating Alvarez for the double belt. I'm taking this performance from Ilia over that performance that is held in high regard, which was a great showing. I watched it live. It was amazing. But this 3-fight run, if he finishes Charles, it's up there. It's insane.
So on the flip side, let me ask you real quick though. Say Charles does win. 2-time champ.
Get it out of here.
Did it over a couple years.
Oh boy.
Like now, are we talking like historical with Charles at that point? Because I don't see why not. I mean, there's like, but he's just, man, one of the faces of the company. Like, just, oh no, I got a special thing for Charles, man. He's what Edson Barbosa was supposed to be for me. Okay, like he can do that.
He already has this amazing resume, and if to top it off by winning the belt versus Ilia.
Man.
And just kill all this hype and just
that'd be crazy. That would be crazy.
Man, it's not crazy. It's not crazy to think that, guys.
And then okay. So
that's so insane.
Either way is in your eyes. I know we get a little. Is Gaethje next? I know he's talking big. He's threatening if he's done a lot and if he's not next.
Me personally, I don't want him to be, but I think so. Just like I don't want to see it, bro. Like I know that sucks. I'm sorry, but
you had your shot, bro. You already had your deal. Like, and he has. He had it. Habib told him, "Hey, man, I didn't break your arm because your parents were here, but I could have."
Habib, Islam, he's fought Charles. Like he's had these chances, and I'm like,
his chances.
I'm done. Like. Please fight Patty and settle that. Like, I'd rather.
So that's the one. You heard what Ilia said, right?
Patty's next if he wins. That fight is crazy.
As a new Patty fan myself,
I can't. That's going to be hard for me to.
How crazy is that, though? That's where we've gotten.
Yeah, That's
And
crazy.
it's kind of all coming to like, because you remember way back when Patty first showed up, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna be. It's kind of crazy to see this whole evolution. If it ends up as, can you imagine like an end of the year card? Patty and Ilia and like Tom and whoever you want to throw on there. Like,
it's either MSG or out of the country, bro. Like, I think we don't deserve here in the United States unless it's MSG. give me another country's crowd to just have these two fights. The Aspinall versus someone gone, maybe. Yucks. And then and then a Patty versus Topuria on the co-main. Let a crowd over there just have this hype, and oh man, that would be so amazing.
Somebody said on Twitter the other day that we're like, the UFC does not give a fuck about American fans because they give all the great fights to Abu Dhabi or fucking the fight out. All they give them to everybody else but us. And let me be the first to say, Aspinall, if it's not his first offense, second offense, and this will be the end of it, I think it should be against Charlton Almeida. That's just me.
Let me see it. I think so too.
I'm just saying. I like Almeida. I don't think he beats him at all, but we've seen everybody else.
I want to see Aspinall versus a wrestler and someone who's really going to push Aspinall in that wrestling-ish thing. So yeah, I think Almeida's, a fun prospect there. But if you guys are having trouble with the Topuria and Oliveira fight, give me the under 3.5 that I see plus 115. Give me that all day, baby.
Okay.
Under 3.5 is your best bet there, and I see a plus sign there, and give me that.
I like that.
Under 3.5.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all.
All right, man.
Man, Saturday's gonna be fun, man.
It's gonna be fun.
There's a lot of young names that can make a bigger name, a lot of legacy type of stuff, and just a bunch of really, really good fights. So yeah, I'm looking. They did right by international fight. I was a little worried for a little while, but it ended up coming together nicely.
I'm trying to create more content for on TikTok. I made that one video of Patchy Mix getting embarrassed and
Patrick.
Patrick. It kind of picked up traction on my TikTok, so I was starting to post more MMA content, reactions from these fights, and let's have fun with it. But you guys know, at the end of the episode, we like to give our picks at the end, and we'll start from the bottom and work our way to the top. So to start off the card, I'm going with Jacoby Smith to knock out Nico Price. I'm taking Jonathan Diniz. I'm taking Ewert.
Yeah. Over McVey,
who just stepped in and just got announced today. That fight just got announced. Underdog number 1, Vyacheslav Borshchev is my underdog number 1. TBD on this next one, Tracy Cortez by decision. We will see how she weighs in and how she looks on the scale. That will, the pick might flip from that. Next, I have Delgado. Give me RoboCop Rodrigues to win his fight. To start off the main card, give us Peyton Talbott, the underdog number 2, baby. And then the next fight, give us dog number 3, Benny Dariush to win.
Yes, Benny.
Let's go. And then next fight, we have Brandon Royval. And then the co-main, we have Anstill, Pantoja by submission. And then in the main, we have Ilia Topuria winning by knockout. And my favorite is under 3.5 rounds under for that fight.
Don't be surprised if I do a little Earl on Saturday on Charles.
Man,
right?
don't
be surprised if I Earl on Saturday with
the
Charles.
value is there for Oliveria, guys.
And probably by the time fight is close to starting, it's going to be like near plus 400. So, I'm going to cover my hedge a little bit. That's all.
But if you guys are listening to this on Spotify or watching on YouTube, hopefully you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Closing in on 18,000 subscribers on the channel.
Love to hear that.
Almost there, guys. And then on Spotify, hit that follow button and give us a 5 stars on the podcast. That would help out a lot, just getting our podcast around for more ears and more eyes to hear and see us. But we appreciate you guys for stopping by for this breakdown. There will be timestamps in the description below. and we will see you guys on the next breakdown.
Peace.